Coming up, a festival wraps up in Iowa City.
And later, blockbuster movie reviews.
All the entertainment updates, both local and national.
And our opinions on them. So without further ado, sit back,
relax,
and here's the word on the street.
Welcome back to another episode of Word on the Street. I'm Grace Lathrop.
And I'm Hannah Lipsky, on your screens every week to give you your entertainment updates. Now, award season has passed, but festival season is upon us.
That's right, Hannah. One of the biggest and longest festivals kicks off the season this weekend.
Yes, the Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival opens today in Indo, California. The festival is 2 weeks long, running April 11th through the 13th and the 18th through the 20th. This is the event of the year for social media influencers, so we'll see who shows up.
Yeah, this is a huge event each year, and the headliners are Lady Gaga, Green Day, Post Malone, and Travis Scott this year. Some other big names performing are Charli XCX, Megan Thee Stallion, and Benson Boone. While Coachella opens in Desert, Iowa City celebrated 20 years of the Mission Creek Music and Art Festival. Let's send it to DITV's Mark Fortunato in the newsroom to tell us all about the festival.
That's right, ladies. This was my first time experiencing the Mission Creek Arts Festival, and it sure was thrilling. I ran around Iowa City like a headless chicken, bouncing from performances, like musical performances, book readings, and even vinyl sales.
Literature, music, and culture. The Iowa City community headed downtown for an exciting tradition.
The Mission Creek Festival is produced by the Englert Theater, which serves as one of the many venues in Iowa City for performers to take the stage.
The festival offered a diverse lineup of events, some local, others international.
So I'm just excited to see the actual execution, have the community come out and enjoy the experience and make some memories.
In addition to an exciting lineup, Mission Creek also celebrated its 20th anniversary in Iowa City.
Really interesting and really great. You can see how it's matured with the people who have been running the festival in their lives as well.
At the Voxman Music Building, musician, writer, and headliner Nico Case gathered a strong audience for a reading and conversation.
There's absolutely no reason on paper that I should feel brave enough to do this, but I can't help it.
Prairie Lights also offered a free reading Saturday afternoon, with Tori Peters jam-packing the room for a book reading, often making her audience laugh.
The best thing to do is to make my own hair mask with avocado, honey, olive oil, and eggs.
Musical performances rock stages. Grunge band Slacker turned their amps all the way up, and main headliner William Elliott Whitmore played two instruments at once while singing at Englert. It is a bittersweet moment for Mission Creek, as they will be parting ways with their 20-year-long partnership with the Englert Theater.
The feeling that happens after you complete a week of Mission Creek makes you kind of walk around Iowa City with a new perspective and feel a new wave of appreciation for this place.
The festival will always have a lasting impact on the Iowa City community. From Iowa City, Mark Fortunato, DITV. So I started off at a live reading at the Clothing Store Revival, where a few people, some local writers, some Iowa graduates, read from various books. Then I went to Tori Peters' literary reading at Prairie Lights, where it was jam-packed with people. But yeah, then afterwards, the Jack Line Band was performing on the second floor of Reunion Brewery, along with a vinyl pop-up store, where there were dozens upon dozens of different boxes containing old vinyl, new vinyl, vinyl from local musicians, some from international musicians. Then afterwards, I made the trek all the way to the Trumpet Blossom Cafe, where grunge band Slacker performed. They turned their amps all the way up, causing many audience members to bob their heads in approval. Next up, I went to Nico Case's reading at the Voxman Music Building, where she read from her most recent book. And then finally, to end off the night, I went all the way to Englert Theater, the main attraction where they host the headliners. William Elliott Whitmore performed on stage, was not playing with one or two, but three instruments simultaneously. So there you have it. A legendary festival in Iowa City has made its history once again, but now the community has to say goodbye to Mission Creek. However, it isn't the end, as there has been talk that Mission Creek will return to the Bay Area. Now I'll send it back to you ladies in the studio.
Thanks, Mark, and we're so glad that you enjoyed the festival.
And some more excitement going on in the cinema world. Last week, a new movie came out, breaking records at the box office. I mean, I didn't really expect it, but we're going to send it over to DITV's Liz Schultz, who will give us a look into this certain movie's debut.
Thanks, ladies. That's right. And the Minecraft movie came out on April 4th to theaters, and it's already making a huge launch at the box office, reaching a record-breaking $150 million in ticket sales. For those unfamiliar with Minecraft, the movie is based on the best-selling video game of all time. It is about the pixelated block-based game coming into life in a way that these fans have never seen before. Now, I enjoyed the movie a lot, but that's mostly because I like the game, which I feel like in order to enjoy the movie, you had to have been a Minecraft kid or enjoy playing the game. Personally, it reminded me a lot of the Super Mario Bros. Movie, which came out a couple years ago, which had some similarity in its casting and with those colorful shots. And in terms of the casting, I thought it was very well done. There was Jack Black, Jason Momoa, Emma Myers, Jennifer Coolidge, which I was really shocked by, and more, all played their roles perfectly. And Jack Black, he played the main character, Steve, who you're first introduced to. I was a little bit shocked to see Jason Momoa play the role that he did in the film, but I thought overall he was the perfect fit. He played the overly confident and cocky, fearless macho man adventurer, and the other supporting actors and actresses played their roles very well. I'm a huge fan of Emma Myers personally, who played Natalie, and she also plays Enid in the Netflix series Wednesday. Overall, I think the casting was great, and I was extremely entertained, as always, by Jack Black's humor. As for some of those creative aspects for the film, I was also very impressed with the animations and CGI. Now, Minecraft is a very colorful game with a lot of sound, and I think the film did a great job bringing that to life through all the colors and showcasing the different mobs and creatures. There's a little bit of hilariousness there with the chicken jockey. I know that's been a joke recently, but it followed the plot line well, introducing those characters and having a lot of the character development. And Steve and Jason Momoa's character, Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison, which I know that's a very long name, argue a lot at first because they challenge each other's personality. They then become close friends, which really stood out to me throughout the film. And Steve also performs several jingles based on what's going on in the scene that are still stuck in my head. Now, when I went to see the film, there were people of all ages there. I went on a Friday evening, but I grew up a Minecraft kid, so I found that the film absolutely holds special value to me. And fun fact, I've actually never been to a movie where the audience clapped at the end. But this one had everybody clapping on top of a lot of audience engagement throughout with all the memes that have been going on. I heard a lot of people yelling Flint and Steel, chicken jockey, all those jokes were thrown in there. Now, I've actually heard a lot of mixed opinions about the movie, but personally, I would give it a 7 out of 10 pickaxes, and I would highly recommend seeing the film, especially if you're a Minecrafter. But there are so many great things that I have to say about the film, but I'm going to send it back to you ladies in the studio.
And over the weekend, Hannah and I both saw the #1 movie that's currently on Netflix right now, which is called One of Them Days, starring Keke Palmer and SZA.
Now, the film is about two roommates who have quite the day together, where nothing is going in their favor. Actually, everything goes wrong. But the movie starts out with Alyssa, SZA's character, one of the roommates, her boyfriend stealing their rent money. And then her other roommate, Drew, are on the clock to find the money and give it to the landlord before the end of the day, or they will be evicted.
It's a comedy, but I would also argue it's a feel-good movie about friendship and working together, and just kind of how their friendship is put to the test as they conquer this day together.
Yeah, I agree. The movie currently has a score of 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is actually really impressive for a comedy. It had a production budget of $14 million, which is low because the average budget for a comedy is around $70 million. And at the end of March, One of Them Days has made close to $51 million domestically.
The movie released on Netflix and is currently still sitting at #1. This was also the first movie SZA has started, but I don't think it'll be her last after the success of this movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so in order to break down this movie a little bit more, I think we should talk about the plot first and foremost. I thought the plot was creative enough in the sense that it was a little bit different, but I have, seen those movies that are based off of that worst day ever kind of idea. But this one was a little bit different in the sense that it was directed towards adults. It was not really meant for kids.
Definitely not.
I guess kids could see it if they really wanted to, but I think this is more for adults. And you know, it's really interesting that it kind of worked so well because it was kind of that like more slapsticky humor at some points, but it was really, really good. And also just going off of that, they, you know, they had a dynamic relationship between the two of them. It's based off of their friendship, but it's also, you know, they give each other a hard time, just like real friends do. And they kind of make fun of one another's choices. And I thought it was a really, really good dynamic that they had, and something that was easy to follow that you could probably have on in the background if you really wanted to, but you could also be engaged and really enjoy it.
Yeah, and then with the two characters, they were kind of, the acting played really well of opposites with each other. You know, SZA being more relaxed and go with the flow, and then Keke Palmer being more uptight and I have to follow this plan. So I really liked them playing off of each other. And I thought it was, you know, really interesting and really great for them because a lot of movies today, you know, are starting to gear more towards starring women, and they're starting to do a lot better. Like we have Wicked, Amelia Perez, and now One of Them Days. That these three movies have just blown people away and have made lots of money and had great turnout, and that hasn't always been the case in the past. And I'm really just happy to see more females starring and just more movies about women. So that's really cool.
Yeah,
but yeah. They had such great chemistry on scene, and I think that Keke was amazing. Like, I've never seen her in a role that I didn't like, and I was really impressed with SZA as well. I'm gonna say from an acting standpoint, I don't know if it was much of her as acting as much as it was her kind of like a street cast, like we see like Fezco from Euphoria, where it's like him playing this role and they've kind of made it for him. So I wanna see her in something else to more so like judge what her acting would actually be like, but yeah, it was still really good. And overall, I would rate the plot a 7 out of 10. Acting 6, just because I'm unsure of SZA. And with the messaging and takeaways of the movie, I felt really great at the end, and I'm gonna give that an 8.
Yeah.
And overall, I'll give it a 7 out of 10.
I agree with you. I thought it was pretty good. I really appreciated the originality of the film, and there was like points in it where it'd be like a freeze frame and it'd say like they have 8 hours until their rent is due, 4 hours before their rent is due, which is really creative. And I really appreciate these movies that are on such a tight budget because this they easily could have poured in a lot more money into this, but they didn't have to. And I think that's kind of what the beauty of this is they were just, you know, it was filmed in Los Angeles, it took place in Los Angeles, and they were able to really get that
Girls
message
booling
across.
on a budget.
Yeah, I mean, they just rolled with it. The color scheme was great in the clothes, in the apartment complex, and I really enjoyed it. I would give the plot a 6 out of 10, and I thought the acting was great. I'd give it an 8, and I mean, I felt great at the end of it, and I really enjoyed seeing their friendship kind of grow, and for that, I'd probably give the takeaway around a 7, and overall, I'd give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay, so we're kind of, you know, aligning there, but yeah, I really hope I see SZA in something else.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. But in the meantime, thank you so much for joining us today on another episode of Word on the Street.
Join us next week for more entertainment updates. For Liz Schultz and Mark Fortunato, I'm Hannah Lipsky.
And I'm Grace Lathrop, and we'll see you next time on Word on the Street.